Yes, that is how we are going to start this video. Walking in like a boss. Now, also, before we get into the topic of this video, we have a new mascot on the channel. If you can see him in the back, it is a blue brick, and his name is Brickinio. So shout out to Brickinio, and let's talk about strikers in football right now, because it's something that really needs to be addressed, especially by me as someone that's made many videos about strikers in the past and who is cooking up a video about strikers in football right now. But a little discussion that we have to have is, are strikers actually coming to prevail? You know, are they thriving in the new 2025 to 26 season? Because last year I was slandering a bunch of them, where it was getting to the point where I was literally talking about Chris Wood as one of the best strikers in the world last year. You know how bad the levels have to be for me to mention Chris Wood in a current strikers in football video? That was appalling from me. But looking back on that take, it wasn't really that bad. But at the time, it was detrimental. Haaland was having a poor season. Mbappe was looking loose. But still, at the end of the campaign last year, these two both ended up with decent numbers. Actually, very good numbers for today's standards. But this season, it's like everything has just been put back into place. Haaland's balling, Mbappe's balling, and Harry Kane is doing Harry Kane stuff. Harry Kane has like 11 goals for Bayern Munich this season, and they have gone on an absolute tear of form, destroying every single team in their path, including a brilliant performance that he had against Chelsea in the Champions League group stage. Haaland, as always, is performing with power and beauty, and this guy is taking it to that next stage, because this year he has been one of Man City's, only glory, something that has just thrived in each and every game that they have had. And I'm actually really happy for him, because last year he was getting slandered left, right and centre, to the point where even me, as a guy that commentates on football as a whole, wasn't even including him in the bigger picture videos, where I was talking about guys like Alexander Isak, people like, who was I talking about in that video? Sorloth. I don't even know. But Haaland has come back into the scene and put Man City at the helm of the Premier League title race. And of course, they're not really, I guess you can say that they are in the Premier League title race for a lot of people, but they're kind of the sleeping dogs of this race. And no, I'm not trying to reference no PS5 game or PS4 game. That was a banging game back in the day. But Haaland is leading the Wolfpack, the Man City line. Combining brilliantly with guys like Reinders, and Foden is finding his feet again, feeding the giant up top. Haaland has also carried on his form in international fixtures so far too, with a brilliant win the other day against Israel, which a lot of the world seem to enjoy for many reasons. And of course, the Ninja Turtle Kylian Mbappe has started this season off in fine fashion as well, scoring like 9 goals in La Liga so far for Real Madrid. And again, it's just beautiful to see. Harry Kane in all competitions, by the way, nearly has 20 goals. We're like, 6 or 7 games into the season, and he's scored that amount of goals in all competitions. Let's just point that out. He's someone that just continues season on season to push the boundaries in this position, and it's something that we've seen time and time again, with his game just transforming from being a poacher striker, a guy that would just turn up into the box whenever and score the goals, to a guy that can now dip into midfield, dictate the play like someone like Dennis Bergkamp back in the day, and also provide the goals where Bayern need him. Because in a few seasons, is he going to really be able to upkeep this standard that he's set for himself at Bayern Munich? Or are they going to have to bring in a replacement? Their backup to Harry Kane is Nicholas Jackson. If Harry Kane goes down, does Nicholas Jackson come in and start banging as many goals as Harry Kane? Hell no. It just shows that Harry Kane, Erling Haaland and Mbappe this season are levels above every single player in world football. They're shutting down all types of records and leading the line in the top 5 leagues when it comes to goals and assists. And it's not just these three, it's guys like Julian Alvarez, who has also started off this season in phenomenal fashion. Marcus Thuram and Lautaro Martinez both have 5 each in the Serie A this season too. And then you've got someone like Hugo Ekitike, who has come into a Liverpool side and thrived since the start of this season. He's someone that, again, is getting completely overlooked because Liverpool decided, we don't just need Ekitike, one elite, promising striker in football. Let's bring in Alexander Isak and say, you're going to be the guy that leads the line when you're fit, and actually take Ekitike's spot. But every time Ekitike has been involved in Liverpool's play and been the guy that started ahead of Alexander Isak, He's been the one that's delivered for Liverpool, and guys like Isak have been looked at as a disappointment. He's even lashing out on international duty when Sweden have, lost 4 of the games that they've played. Bro, Isak's crashing out, doing press conferences and saying that he's fuming with the way that the team is played. Is that the manager's fault or is it your fault? It might be the system, but again, if you are an elite striker, as the entire internet says, football says, I've said before, you're an elite striker, you have not proven 1% of that claim this season. He's someone that a lot of people going into this season were saying that he was going to just challenge Erling Haaland to be the main guy in Europe's top 5 leagues as the best striker in the world. But he hasn't proved that he's better than Haaland, Kane, Mbappe as a striker, Lewandowski, even Gyökeres has started this season in better form. He's putting up Benjamin Sesko levels of brilliance. That is not a good standard so far this season, bro. He needs to pick up his act, otherwise people are going to start deflecting the Wirtz hate onto him, because I'm seeing a lot of hate for Florian Wirtz. And I know this is a strikers video, but come on. Some of that hate is unwarranted when you've got someone that costs even more money that's doing even worse activities on the pitch. And aside from Isak, let's just quickly talk about Gyökeres, because he came into an Arsenal side this season with high, hopes placed on his back. He was given the whole realm. They gave him the treasure chest. They said, you know what? You're the guy that Arsenal needs. You're going to be the guy. But is he really living up to standards? I don't really know. As someone that avidly watches Arsenal, the goals haven't really been popping too much just yet. He's had a couple good performances, but when you really take a look at where his goals came and what teams he scored against, I don't think he's living up to that price that was put down for him. But he still has a lot of the season to go, and he's probably showed more promise than the likes of Sesko, the likes of Isak, the likes of, I don't even know, maybe Haaland. Haaland, again, being a striker that left Manchester United. He's doing well over there in Napoli, linking up with Kevin De Bruyne. We saw a brilliant performance, in the Champions League. And it seems like we are getting a mini resurgence of new strikers in football. Something like a new generation. Something like the One Piece worst generation of pirates that came through after the elites had retired. Maybe let me not take it that far, because people don't understand these references. I don't know why I do them in every single video. There's just no point. But again, it feels like I have this conversation every single year. I'm always hyping up this new generation of strikers, and then something happens, it goes left, and we just forget about them. Because do you remember this time last season, the amount of hype that not only me, but football media was putting onto like someone like John Duran? Do you remember that? He was scoring bangers in the Champions League for Aston Villa. He was doing it week in and week out, popping up with crucial strikes. And these were like comparisons he was getting to Adriano and R9 with the amount of power in his shot. And then he decided, you know what, I'm going to just up and leave, go to Saudi and ruin my entire career. Now he's chilling at, I think, Fenerbahce, and he's just shot his potential. He could come back and make a name for himself. But again, we are in dying need of elite strikers in football. And time again, they just decide to up and leave. Like if I was just to make this video and just start speaking about a topic and just leave out of the room. Bro, why would you do that? You started a topic, you were the discussion, you were the main attraction, and then you just left to Saudi for money. And I get it. If they offered me to buy this whole channel, buy my main channel, and said you can only speak about Saudi football games for £1 million, I will do that in a heartbeat. So I guess that's where the debate ends. Soloff for Atletico's also been putting up a couple numbers. And again, strikers. Let's just talk about our favourites in the comments. If you've reached this point in the video, let me know your favourite striker in football right now, someone that we should be looking out for. And this was just a bit of a prep video for me, because I'm going to be making a bigger video about players that are locked in this season on the main channel, and that will be dropping in a few days. So we'll be going in depth about Haaland and all these guys, but that will be about all positions. And of course, let's say goodbye to Briquinho, who has paid attention throughout this entire video. So shout out to him. And yeah, this is day 3 of posting on this second channel. And whoever watches. Stay safe, stay blessed, and peace.